Hey everybody, this is Cody922 here. Welcome to Cody Talks Fandom. Hey, look at the backdrop now. Episode number 48. We're only 2 away from 50 now, guys. We're 2 away. And I am very excited about episode 50. Organization and the actual I was going to say organization and planning. Planning's been going on for a while now, but the organization for it is actually underway now. I am just getting the last of the things that I need to completely and fully organize the episode done, and then once that is through, I'm going to record it, and then it's going to be up, and I really I'm just excited for it. I'm really excited for episode 50, guys, because he's going to be good. I can promise you that much. Episode 50 will be good, but as of right now, we're on episode number 48, and this is the end, actually, of the primary characters that we're going to be talking about for the fanon interpretations. And we've covered a lot of people, but there's one person specifically that we haven't covered. And this person is someone who, within the fandom, is quite well loved. People really enjoy this character. People love this character in the fandom. So I think it's time that we talk about the fanon interpretation for one Miss Cinder Fall. So Cinder is, within the fanon, her identity is unbelievably strong. Cinder, as far as characters are concerned, has just like, she doesn't vary much, but I don't say that in like a negative sense. Like I do with some of the other characters, where I'm like, yeah, well, they don't really vary a whole lot. But with Cinder, I don't mean that in a negative way at all. Cinder has a very strong identity within the fanon. We have it kind of very set in stone as to who Cinder is. She's this kind of evil, manipulative, very behind the scenes, very powerful person who orchestrates everything and who always has a plan. And that's how we view Cinder as far as the fanon is concerned. Excuse me, gosh. And it's just like, it doesn't vary much, but it always varies in like the right ways of just like taking it a step further or a step back, or, you know, just like really the variation that you see with it is plentiful. And that is interesting to me because she has this very strong fanon identity like a lot of other people do, but Cinder has something Cinder is different from absolutely everybody else in this list, because Cinder has an incredibly strong and an incredibly potent fanon identity. Perhaps the strongest, honestly. I would be willing to say that her fanon identity is stronger than anybody else's. But at the same time, in the same breath, Cinder has an incredibly weak canon identity. We haven't really seen her do a whole lot yet. We haven't really gotten to see much of Miss Cinder Fall. So far, we kind of know, within the canon, I can go over what we know about her very quickly. She is planning something. That something is more than likely evil. And she's doing stuff, to get closer to her plan. Beyond that, we actually don't know really anything else about her. We haven't even also that she's incredibly powerful due to her fights with the likes of Glinda. Excuse me, gosh, I'm really burpy today and I don't know why. So Cinder, her canon identity just doesn't really give a whole lot to play with. Doesn't really give a whole lot to work with. It's kind of, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, because what she says and what she does is really all that we have so far. and it's kind of been like the same thing of, I have this grand plan, this grand master plan, and I'm going to be doing something, and it's going to be evil. In fact, I can't even really properly compare the fanon to the canon identity, and for a while I thought about actually not doing this. But the thing about Cinder is her fanon presence is just so strong that I felt as though it would be doing a disservice to not include her as in this episode. So Cinder, let's talk about her within respects to the canon. I very, very briefly kind of summarized it, but I can do a much better job than that. So Cinder, as far as the canon is concerned, I said it. She is this kind of like, I'm an evil mastermind. She is this character who is orchestrating some kind of a big plan, and Roman doesn't even know what all of the plan is. He only knows enough so that he can continue doing the pieces that he's supposed to do, and that's kind of how she's keeping it. She's keeping him in the dark, while Emerald and Mercury, for whatever reason, are completely informed, even though the way that the power structure is set up, it appears as though what she's willing to entrust people with is different from what she's willing to entrust people with as far as responsibilities and power and what they're doing is concerned, seems to be completely foreign from what she's trusting as far as knowledge is concerned, because Emerald and Mercury clearly have a much tighter leash, not just because they are unknown, but also just like as in kind of in general thing, they seem to be much more restricted in terms of what they can do, kind of following strictly along with whatever Cinder's doing. And that's in comparison to Roman, who has no idea what's coming next. He knows what he is told, and what he is told is not a tremendous amount. But what he is allowed to do and what the power that he is given in terms of what he can do seems to be a lot higher, because Cinder in the volume 2 finale, which I want to call it Breach. Yeah, that was Breach. Roman starts the plan early. He breaks through, and Cinder just says, and everybody's just like, what the fuck? Roman did it early. He jumped the gun. And Cinder's like, all right, we doing this. We're gonna fuck. Like, it's just kind of like, that is. So so the power structure is basically, Roman is, as far as who she entrusts, Roman is, from what we've seen so far, at the top of the list. We don't know about Adam yet. So Adam's kind of the one who is kind of who's the wild card, but Roman is at the top as far as, you are allowed to do this, and you are allowed to, and I will trust your judgment calls, and I will let you do what you have to do, because I think that you can do this. And it's very, very obvious that Cinder has full faith in Roman to be able to do exactly what she asks him to do. And so far, Roman hasn't really given her a reason to deny that, which is kind of another thing to the character, is that we haven't really seen we haven't really seen what happens when plans go awry. But Roman hasn't really given her a reason to go back on that trust that she's giving him, because Roman so far has been very capable. He gets done exactly what he's supposed to get done, except for the one time in episode 16 of volume 1. I have to remember the numbers, and sometimes that's hard. And so, it's very, this kind of power structure that she has set up is very strange, because why not trust Roman to more knowledge, or why not trust Emerald and Mercury with more to do? Well, it all kind of fits into this idea that she knows exactly what she's doing, and what she's doing is best. So what is she doing? Well, we don't know yet. As the audience, we don't know yet. As Roman, we don't know yet. Pretty much nobody knows yet. Nobody even really knows of her involvement. She's still just posing as a student. And she's keeping very much so out of things, especially in comparison to Mercury and Emerald, who, they did fight, but she's trying not to fight because they have seen her fight before in episode 1 of the series. So she's just kind of like, all right, well, if I fight, I might blow things. So very well thought out as well. And then the other part to her is that Cinder, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Within respects to the canon, Cinder is clearly very powerful and very capable as far as fighting is concerned because she held off Glinda. And a lot of what her plan seems to be revolved around is stalemating, is keeping things stalemated until she's ready to spring her plan. Because the breach wasn't really a plan to kill everyone and win. The breach was a plan to keep things stalled and occupied and get Roman captured as well. And everything that she's had Roman do has been based around this idea of, you're going to do this, you're going to draw them out, you're going to stall them out, and then just get the job done for right now. We're going to keep going. Because Roman has seemed very nonchalant about not killing them. He's had the opportunity once to actually kill somebody himself, but he has never taken it. I mean, he straight up could have killed Sun and then done the same thing to RWBY that he had done in episode 16, but yet he didn't. And there's no way that a character like Roman is just kind of like, I could kill this person, but no, I think that they deserve to. No, that's Cinder. That's got to be Cinder telling him not to make too much of a mess and to just keep things on even ground. So the amount of control that she has, especially over a character like Roman, who Roman is, he is not somebody who will take orders lightly. He's not somebody who will take somebody and say, you are clearly above me, very easily. And that separates her from every other character in RWBY. So that's really in-depth analysis on what little that we've seen out of Cinder, mostly revolving around Roman. What we've seen actually out of Roman within respects to Cinder, or within regards to Cinder. So what about her fanon identity? Well, everything that I just said for canon goes, pretty much. She is incredibly powerful. She's incredibly strong. She's incredibly good at getting her way. She's very manipulative. She's very, very much so kind of this behind the scenes-y style of evil, where it's just kind of like, I am going to do things and they're going to be bad things, but I'm not going to be the one directly doing them. That's going to be somebody else's job. And, that's why she's giving us the faces to hate, the White Fang, Roman Torchwick. Yeah, that's pretty much it so far, actually, I guess. I was trying to think. I was just like, White Fang, Roman Torchwick, is this really it? And across a lot of AUs, she always is in a position of power. Whether or not the power is official or the power is just kind of like faux power, I guess. And by faux power, what I mean is she isn't technically the one in charge, but she's the one in charge. Just listen to what she says. Listen to what Cinder's telling you to do. And from that standpoint, Cinder is... words don't fail me now. Words. And from that standpoint, that's the consistent thing with Cinder, is that she really, this is not somebody who would ever want to be below somebody. She would never relinquish her power. She would die before that happens, which does lead into some fan theories, such as Roman being the one to kill Cinder because he starts to think that maybe he can run in a position of power and she better than her, and so he kills her to prove that. Which, I really like that theory a lot, actually. I really like the idea of Roman being the one to kill Cinder, and to the same regards, I really like the idea of Cinder being the one to kill Roman. But, these kind of ideas are just based around power. Everything for her is just like this power struggle. And whatever she's doing is a play for some form of power. Now, what exactly that play is and what exactly the power is, we don't know yet, because we have not been shown what her plan is. But in fanon, that is always a theme. Is just a power for her. That's one of the most prevalent themes. And I really love the way that she's portrayed as far as being manipulative goes. She's just like horrible. She's just not a good person at all, and that reflects a lot of times is it's very sultry, it's very seductress kind of evil, but is still capable of getting things. Well, not is still capable, and with that is able to get shit done. Is just able to accomplish the stuff that she wants to accomplish, and she can use that to her advantage. And that's just, she's such a good character. She's so well thought out. And really what happens is, playing around with her past. Is she evil because bad shit happened to her in her past? Which is very heavily implied through the song Sacrifice. That song is about Cinder. I believe we have 100% confirmation on that. But that song plays right into this kind of, she has a tragic past. But playing around, what if she have a tragic past? What if she was solely aligned to the White Fang? What if she did this? What if she did this? What if she did this? And there's just so much experimentation. Her in the fanon is great. I really don't have much to complain about. Maybe overdoing it on the seductress side of things sometimes, but that's rare. That's pretty rare, and that's exclusive to specific genres of fan fiction and fan art that I'm not going to go into. But there's really not much that I have to complain about, which is great because I complain about everything. But no, I mean, she is this very, very well done character within the regards of the fan, and it's really the canon that we're kind of waiting. Now, on to the next part. Shipping. What about shipping with this character? Well, the core trait to any ship with Cinder is always very easy to spot out. It's manipulation. Cinder is this character who, no matter what the relationship is, she's going to manipulate them a little bit. Whether or not you want to make it so that way she still does love, where she truly does love somebody, or she's just using somebody for their power, for their knowledge, for their position. She truly does. She always has an element of manipulation to it. She's always going to twist the knife a little bit. And that's just, excuse me, gosh. And that is just who she is. That is just what she does. You're never going to get around that. She's always going to twist something a little bit. She's always going to try and get her way. Even if she does truly love somebody, her acts of love are going to be she's less brutal, less manipulative. She's going to be less blank. And the most popular ship, I think, with Cinder, without a doubt, is Cinder RWBY. I can't really think of one, Cinder RWBY is undoubtedly the second most popular trash ship in the fandom. Well, first or second. I'm going to call it first, because I see more Cinder RWBY than I do the ship that shall not be named. So I'm going to say Cinder RWBY is the most popular trash ship. I think it's undoubtedly in the top two. I'm going to call it number one for the sake of this episode. But Cinder RWBY is very, very popular. And that is the perfect instance where RWBY is a character that can be manipulated. She has these ideal fantasies in her mind and of how things work, of how the world works, and that's the perfect target for Cinder. This very innocent character with this very not innocent character. I can't think of any better words than not innocent, so don't judge me. It is, all of that is just kind of like this is who this character is. This personifies this idea of shipping somebody with Cinder. And then after that, it gets really tricky to name ships beyond that. I don't see much Roman Sin. I don't see much Emerald, but I definitely see more Emerald than I do any other ship. So I will say that's number 2. And then beyond that, you really, a lot of times the logic behind putting Cinder into a ship with somebody for people seems to be less so the thoughts of how this interaction will work, because we have only seen her interact within a speaking form to Roman, Emerald, Mercury, and Ruby, and that's it. She's also technically interacted with Glinda, because she fought Glinda. Beyond that, there isn't much. There's not a whole lot. So it less so becomes this interaction leads me to believe that this character is able to be shipped with this character. More so, I like Cinder a lot. I like this character a lot. Let's put them together. So Emerald, and I'm going to say Roman Sin for the sake of this episode at number 3. Even though there's not a whole lot of it, slim pickings for consistent Cinder ships, is what I'll say. Cinder as a character is consistently shipped, but there are not really that many consistent ships with Cinder, if that makes sense. And Cinder is just like, she is this character that, has the manipulation, and that really does fit into Emerald as well, because what we've seen of Emerald in canon is there is clearly some form of attachment between her and Cinder. There is something about Cinder that has led Emerald to be very, very close to her, and very much so respect and look up to her. The joke of the whole senpai thing when Cinder didn't hug her, and just like ignored her and was like, "I'm gonna bitch out Roman now." And then she bitched out Cinder and Emerald. Cinder and Emerald. And Cinder bitched out Cinder and Emerald. Good job, me. And then she bitched out Mercury and Emerald as well. But, so, and then that kind of fits in. Now, Roman Sin's a bit different. Roman is probably, I think, with the sole exception of Glinda. I wasn't thinking about Glinda and Cinder. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. They tie for 3rd. So just so I can talk about them both. So Glinda and Roman, from the shipping with Cinder standpoint, are actually very similar, because they're the closest, as far as positions of power are concerned, to Cinder. They are pretty much as close as we get in this show. And that's like the closest she comes to relinquishing her power is through these people. And it's less so relinquishing her power, more so she does stuff based around, or she entrusts them with more things to do. So, but this is the closest in terms of positions of power, but there's still this element of manipulation to it. There's still this element of, also, by the way, I would like to say, I don't remember what Cinder and Glinda are called, so, Glinder. There we go. I remembered, now. But, there's still this element of manipulation. It's Cinder manipulating Glinda to fall into this trap with her. It's Cinder manipulating Roman to make sure that he does exactly as he is told. It is still this element of manipulation, and that's just so prevalent throughout all of her ships, because that's just her as a character. This is from the fanon standpoint, of course. And you can't really have a Cinder ship accurately and not do that. So just keep that up. I mean, really, there's nothing more for me to say. People who do Cinder that I like. I'm gonna shoutouts to Emmy, shoutouts to Ivory, and shoutouts to Chrissy as well. I don't believe I've read. Yeah, I haven't. Those 3, all of them have a great Cinder. All of them have a Cinder that I really, really enjoy. Emmy is the one that I really, really look to for as far as Cinder is concerned. Emmy's the one that, in my mind, writers-wise, is associated with this character. And then from an art standpoint, I really love seeing Mirzers, I believe is how you pronounce it. Mirzers is Cinder Fall. And I really enjoy Kino and all the comics that they do. And obviously, you'll notice that in there I listed off two very, very prominent and prevalent Cinder RWBY shippers within the fandom. And there's a reason for that. There's a lot of this character that is, and from a fanon standpoint, talked about Cinder RWBY. So, but all in all, Cinder Fall is just cosplay. Oh, don't do this to me now, brain. Don't do this to me now. Oh man, I didn't write it down, did I? I am so sorry to the cosplayers that exist that have done great Cinder cosplays, because I definitely I'm so sorry I forgot. I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I can't believe it. I forgot them. Alright, well, oh wait. Is this it? No, it's not. Okay, so, yeah, I forgot to have them, but there's a lot of great Cinder cosplayers out there. RWBY Rock Cinder is also always a lot of fun, which is why I mentioned Ivory, because I'm thinking RWBY Rock Cinder for Ivory, but there's just a lot to do with these characters. There's just like a lot to do with this character, and there's a lot that is done with this character, but it's still keeping very true to the kind of core and the essence of this character. And I love that. I love seeing that. That's so much fun for me as an analyst to just dive into. And I love it. 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 But there's really no more for me to say, actually, because I was trying to stall out and I was trying to get some cosplayers, but no, I still can't remember any. So apologies to the Cinder cosplayers that I would have mentioned, but you know, I'll probably get you mentioned later on at a different date. But with that, that is going to conclude this episode of Cody Talks Fandom. Next week, I forgot to say it at the beginning, interview with Cleo. Please leave questions for Cleo. Interview is taking place on Friday, so leave a question on Thursday, by Thursday, and I will ask it. And then after that is episode 50. I'm so excited. I'm halfway to 100. 50 is a huge milestone, and thank you to everybody who supported me through 48 episodes up to this point. But episode 50 is going to be a big deal. And I can't tell you why, but I can tell you this. I kind of hinted at it in this episode today. But otherwise, I'll see all of you the next time. Oi!